Welcome to the Highbrow Highlights podcast. Today we have a special interview with Japo Parcero, who's a filmmaker, actor, and improviser here in Chicago. She has tips on how to film yourself on stage. So stay tuned for the tips on how to capture yourself in the best light and not get your camera trampled or stolen. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Welcome back to the Highbrow Highlights podcast.
Exciting stuff.
It's your friends, Ellen,
Caleb,
and Tom.
and we're back from the summer, refreshed and fresh, if you will.
Fresh.
Yeah. Yep,
We had hiatus. We took a bath.
Yep.
I put more car fresheners on my ears.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes.
That did seem to work.
That is a callback from our film.
Really deep, really big
That's a deep
fans will
cut.
know that deep cut. They'll understand that one right away.
If you want to know, we filmed a film this summer, and we published it on the internet.
Yes, check out The Stinky Place on YouTube.
Stinky place. Well, it's been an eventful summer. What's been up with you guys?
I celebrated my birthday. I did 30 shots for my birthday.
Oh.
It's beautiful.
The only downside was the weekend of I.O. Fest,
Oh.
which I know Tom went to. What did you see at I.O. Fest?
I saw Tim Meadows and Matt Walsh and friends,
Nice.
and that was awesome. They just basically came out, did some montages, and Cream Boy opened for them, and yeah, it was a good time. It was really good to see I.O. packed like that again.
Cool. Yeah. Super cool.
Very cool.
What about you, Ellen?
Oh, you know, taking classes, doing stuff.
Whoa!
Whoa, I extroverted too close to the sun a little bit, so
Do you have
I
a
was
song of the
hiding.
summer?
A song of the summer?
Yeah.
Ooh, espresso?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would have agreed with that. Yeah.
Is that the hot to go?
Also, I love...
Essentially,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh.
No, that's not that song. Those are two different songs.
Oh, okay.
And two different artists, but
Okay.
it was a good guess.
Karma
I
is
don't
my
know if
kink. My kink is your karma. What's
Yeah,
the song called?
Chaperone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. She's super hot right now. She's hot to go.
Yes.
She's hot to go.
Yeah, I know that one.
Sabrina Carpenter's Espresso.
Mm.
Let's just start reading songs and no. I literally opened a tab and I was just going to type in cool songs.
Cool songs.
Cool songs.
Nice.
Cool.
Exciting stuff.
Well, anyways, last week there was something exciting. Like 2 big shows were in town, both The Daily Show and The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Heck yeah.
I'll tell you a story.
Do it.
I wanted to see Stephen Colbert,
No.
and so I went on a hunt to see. I went to the third act basically all week at Second City,
Oh, wow. Okay.
hoping to see him.
Yeah.
I didn't. Good story, Ellen.
Oh, wow. That's a good point.
Yeah.
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 Has he ever dropped in, like, recently, I guess?
I don't know. I just like would assume, you know, like if there's a celeb, you know, they usually go or like.
Yeah.
I heard he was there in the building, but he like just talked to staff and met the teachers,
Oh.
but he didn't, go and see a show.
There was like a dance party or something at Second City for the DNC staff or something.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I didn't hear about this.
Second
I was
City.
like, was I not invited? I have a student ID. I should have just gone and be like, it's my green card. Let me in.
Wow.
Let me dance with the staffers.
So rude
Yeah.
of them to not let you in.
But someone has a better story than me. My friend Haley, she
Whoa,
actually went.
whoa.
And she recorded a little story for us, a little inside scoop about going to The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Should we listen to it?
I think that we should.
Story time.
Put it on.
Open
Okay.
that book. Over.
Ready for the story?
Yes.
Yes.
Story time.
Yay.
On the Late Show with Stephen Colbert on Tuesday night. I had requested tickets online or like got on the wait list weeks and weeks ago. Didn't even remember. And then like the day before they email you and let you know if you have general admission. So I got there right before 6 and I stood outside for 2.5 to 3 hours before they finally started letting in the people who weren't in the priority line.
Wow.
And we were seated way in the back, way up in the second most top balcony. But it was such an interesting experience to see the behind the scenes of a late night show, of a live taped late night show. We got to watch the DMC streamed on the big screens beforehand, and that was really fun to see both Obama's speeches as well as Doug Emhoff's speech and watch it in a room with 4,000 other people who were really excited to be there. And then once the show got moving, there was a warm-up comic who did some crowd work material. I'll leave it at that. And then Steven came out and did a very brief Q&A, which was fun. There were some interesting questions about his favorite Italian beef, and he's a Mr. Beef guy, BT Dubs, and his favorite obscure science fiction novels. And then, and then the show went on. They had the little stage they rolled out with the furniture, so that was fun to see. It was really cool to see the green screen right out on stage behind the set with Laura Benanti doing her Melania Trump impression. So that was cool to see that come together in real time. And I would say the most surprising thing about it was, gosh, you really realize how little actually happens during a late night show in terms of content. Like for an hour-long show, it just felt like there was so little time spent interviewing the guests. I don't know if I said it already. It was Nancy Pelosi and Hakeem Jeffries on Tuesday night. And we did have some interruptions from protesters who were quickly escorted out. That was interesting to see that process at work and see how Steven handled it, taking into consideration that it was a live show. And overall, it was a lot of fun. I could have gone again Wednesday, but my legs were not having it. It was a very tiring experience because by the time I got home, it was 1 a.m. But if they ever do it here again, I would definitely go again, and definitely recommend trying to go if you could, because it was a really neat night, especially just considering everything that was happening last week.
Wow.
Very cool.
Wow.
That is
Thank
really
you,
interesting,
Haley.
actually.
Haley
Yeah.
Cox from Farana Trauma.
Oh,
That's her team.
nice.
Also my team, Trinkets.
Also my team. Nice.
Also my team.
That's a good name
That's
for
awesome.
trauma.
Yeah. Anyways, isn't that so cool?
That's super
It's
cool.
really cool.
Yeah.
It really seems like they just picked up the New York experience and just brought it here with the classic opening of comics and
Yeah.
Q&A, because you always see the backstories behind all those, and then to see because there's a lot of footage of that, of the a Colbert questioning a protester during that. We can cut all
is it?
this.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Of just during the Nancy Pelosi section, so it was cool that she was there during that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You seem to have an issue with Mr. Beef. I don't know. That's my main takeaway.
I'm Al's Beef guy.
Okay,
and
sure. Okay.
I think Mr. Beef is the celebrity answer of just, the bear.
Right. Yeah.
just
Like,
here
look at
and
me.
try
I
to
know
make-
this city.
Yeah, it's the populist type stuff. But no, I mean, that's the thing. Colbert does know the city.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah. Very
I'm
true.
an opinionated man.
Yeah. That was like your immediate reaction. You're like, okay.
It's like, come on.
How about Buena? No.
What's your favorite beef?
I would actually probably say Buena Beef.
Okay, I don't know if I've been.
I don't even know if it's in the city. It might be just a suburbs chain.
I'm like, I've only had some Buena Beef.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, cool. Okay, good. Okay.
And they have it at Aldi in the freezer section.
Wow.
If they have it in the city, it made it in.
Where I eat my White Castle.
You want to partake?
Freezer section.
Nice. That's cool. That's cool.
Aw. Super fun.
Any other shows you'll see?
I'll probably have seen this by the time this comes out, but this Thursday I'm seeing the Armando at I.O., and they have Tim Baltz of the
Oh.
Righteous Gemstones is going to be there.
Ooh. I'm a
Check.
positive guy. I really like to dance. He wrote that sketch.
Oh, really?
Or he was the originator of that sketch.
Huh.
I don't know that sketch.
They show it in class. And then I went to the summer style, like the best of or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
And they had that sketch. And I was like, BJ.
That's cool. Wow. That's
awesome.
Wow.
I know too much.
His
too
characters are incredible.
Yeah.
So good. He's quite good. Oh, I can't wait for the Righteous Gemstones to come back.
Oh, yeah? You're big on that show?
Yeah. What
Oh,
do you
I-
think about it?
I've not watched it. I've been wanting to
What?
check it out for a while, though. Yeah.
Did
Super
yes,
good?
super good.
you watch Vice Principals or
Principal.
what was his other one? Eastbound and Down?
I watched Eastbound and Down, yeah.
Okay. All right, it's all right. You were going to say something else.
I liked Vice Principals, but I tried to watch it with my sister. I was like, oh, the show's so funny. I watched it by myself during the pandemic, and then I watched it with my sister, and we're like, the show's a little raunchy.
Yeah, I feel like anything with.
I think like
Danny
petulant.
McBride. Yeah.
Danny McBride's just like petulant adult child character
Right. Yeah.
carries the show, and they're all set in like South Carolina. I think like they filmed down there.
Oh yeah. How many seasons of Righteous Gemstones?
There's 3. They're filming the 4th.
Wow, I was gonna say that's been out for a little bit now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
The 3rd season was light on plot, heavy on the car chases.
Yeah.
But
What?
I know exactly what she means.
okay. If you know, you know. You know, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first
That's why people
season
love Church.
slaps. That's why we love Church.
It's car chase.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, it's
slaps.
such a good show. Do you have any news or input?
No, we are working on comedy trivia again.
Yes.
Another upcoming show. We're partnering with Two Guys an Event. We had our first successful one last month. Nope, this month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Went pretty well over at Newport Theater. We're trying to get
Mm-hmm.
get back in there in early October, so keep an ear out for that.
We got Al's beef afterwards.
Yeah. Al's Beef. Yeah, it's right across the street.
It's okay. I'm like,
Yeah, it's
wow.
not just random.
well, I'm bringing Buena
Oh, yeah,
beef.
last time we did actually after the show go get Al's Beef. Yeah, okay, yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, not a sponsor.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Oh, it was a good time.
But yeah, and we're working on bringing Comedy Bingo back as well. So keep an eye out for that. Follow us on the socials to keep updated with our new shows coming out.
Yeah. Super fun. I love it. All right. Well, we have a special treat for you guys this week. A friend of the pod and a friend of friends.
Overall friend.
Japo Parcero, who is an improviser, an actor, filmmaker, is sharing some tips on how to film yourself on stage. So if you're in the dark or if you want to set up a camera and not have it get trampled by the masses, if you want to set the settings right, the sound right, the angle. She has all the deets on how to record yourself. So listen on in, and thank you to Japo. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
listening.
you.
Thank you.
All right. Without further ado, Japo Parcero. Today we have a personal friend and friend of the pod. Improv classes together. Japo Parcero today, and she is a photographer, filmmaker, and actor here in Chicago, Illinois, part of the improv and acting community. And she's a regular photographer at a lot of comedy shows, and she's here to talk to us about how to get good quality footage of yourself while you perform on stage. Thanks so much for being here, Japo. Besides what I said, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I pretty much summarizes everything that I am right now. I was a working actor in the Philippines for about 7 to 8 years, working in film, TV, and theater, both on cam and off cam. So I was doing that for a while. I was doing acting and also mostly director of photography stuff. I see a lot of the people that I've trained before, some of my apprentices before, have gone on to become like award-winning cinematographers. Well, yeah. So anyway, 2018, I moved here in Chicago. I stopped acting for a while. I pursued aviation. So I became a pilot for planes and then drones. And then a couple years back, I felt like I needed to get back into acting because it's something that is not a career for me, but an identity. Like it's me, myself, is an artist. Started doing Meissner and then improv, where of course I met you. So hey, yeah. Improv was something that I never expected I would be doing. Improv is not really big in the Philippines. At least it wasn't. But when I left, improv was something that I was very terrified of doing. I've been used to doing scripts all the time. People telling me what to do. People telling me what to say. But like asking me to create my own was something that I was like, oh, shoot, I can do that. But I guess, do it enough times and you get comfortable. Not to say that I'm good at improv, but I'm just a little bit more comfortable with it than when I started a year ago.
Yeah, she's a wonderful actor and improviser. I
Oh.
would know. I've seen love it. Cool, but you're loving the improv community and you're loving the acting community. But one thing that you start to do a bit is filming people while they're on stage, and that's a little bit tricky. What do you think about that?
I guess it stemmed really from my experience as being a cinematographer before. I found out that being with a camera, either in front of it or at the back of it, is something that I really love doing. I think I just love being part of a process. Either doing it or watching people do it. And so when I got back into acting and doing more like improv stuff, I figured, what is the best way to learn than like by watching people do it? And in the process of watching people do it, I thought, well, you see all these videos on YouTube about archives of now really famous comedians when they were starting out, when they were just having their classes at Second City or some other studio. Seeing those archives, I thought, well, it's really important to really, I guess, record the process. And for me, it was more of, when I started recording myself, it was more just to see if I was making any progress at all with the craft, if this was really something I could do. And watching myself, it's like, I think a lot of actors or performers are divided on this. A lot of performers don't watch themselves do watch their own stuff. But I'm one of the people who have gotten comfortable in doing that, because that way I see nuances, I see my mannerisms, I see if there are words that I say too much or there are things that I default to. So anyway, I started recording myself to sort of just archive classes or performances. And then I found out that other people wanted to do that too. And so me putting some of my work online, people, have started asking, oh, you do that? Can you do that for me? And so I started just doing that as well for other people, mostly for friends in the beginning. And then, yeah, it became sort of just like thing that I do alongside what I do outside of my traditional job.
Nice. Yeah, that is so smart. I didn't realize that was your process, because I do remember in class, like, you were recording us and everything. So I was like, okay, so yeah. And one time you like came and like recorded me when I was doing open mic, and like, yeah, just so sweet. And I appreciate it. And they're really good quality.
Yeah, it's really fun. I love doing it for my friends, most especially, because I feel like I am at a point now where I actually enjoy watching myself do it, and it's something that I could use for my reels, especially if I perform on a stage that is as prominent, for example, as Second City. Even if it's a project for the training center, it's not officially a Second City show. It's something that I can still put in my reel because the quality of the materials produced by Writing Six, for example, or Coach Ensembles are very good, since you're guided by an actual director from the training center and whatnot. So I feel like even for my friends, I feel like they would enjoy watching themselves perform and probably, be able to use it for their reels as well. So I'm like, whenever I have time, I would just watch and record, because I feel like that's something that I can gift my friend or something. Yeah.
I didn't realize that you use the footage from improv shows and things like that in your reel. Do you think that's got you any gigs or anything like that? Or how does that integrate into a reel?
Right. So since I was on hiatus for about 5 years, all of my reels are really, really old. They're really good quality because they are from like professional, or some of them are from really big production companies. But the thing about reels is you have to update them, right? And if for a resume, so it's not required to put the date on your resume or when the film was shot. Typically, you just put the title of whatever film or theater performance or TV performance that you've been in. Sometimes it's not even required when you shot it. So even if it was from 2016, it's fine. You can put it on your resume. But with a reel, you can definitely see a change. We grow old, so you can definitely see like, oh, that's a much younger version of this person. And so typically you can still use them, old reels, but you want to use newer ones, right? And the thing is, and I think a lot of people have a difficulty in, like, if you're starting with acting or you're brand new with acting, you're like, how people require, it's like a job, like for like applying for a job. People want experience, but then if you're starting out, you're required to have experience. But how would you have experience when this is your first time doing it? Like, it's the same with reels. Like, they want you to have a reel, but you're a brand new actor. How do you put something in the reel? And I think that's when monologues, performances for smaller theaters, student films, even performances for improv and sketches come in really, really handy. So I've talked to my agent about it, and they said, yeah, that's perfectly fine. It's something that, like, you don't need a professionally produced clip from an actual film. They just really need to see your style of acting, your range. And so even if it's coming from a 10-minute play festival or an improv scene or a small sketch, then it's something that you can start with, definitely. So yeah, I would encourage, like, people, if you have a performance, however small it is, if you think that showcases what you can do, then definitely record it, and then for now, use it for your reel.
Okay, that's great advice. And then getting down to the nitty-gritty, when it comes to recording stage performances like improv or sketch, what kind of like equipment is best, not just for like video, but also picking up the audio?
Right. So it's kind of tricky because I have an actual studio. I have a boutique studio that, short to say, I get paid to do what I'm doing, right? And so my equipment is definitely going to be different from someone who just wants to be recording their personal performances. And if they're not, I wouldn't suggest buying the camera that I'm using right now. Is like a $3,000 camera. And then the lens is also almost the same, like, price. And I wouldn't recommend that to anyone if you're just going to be, recording your own performances. That's not really practical. But I would say that anything that can record a 4K video would work, especially because, so the thing with, I guess, lower quality cameras is that it doesn't capture light as well. But with a stage performance, it's very well lit. Like, you're not gonna struggle with lighting because there's so much light on stage. So really, even if I've tried using a camera like my iPhone camera, just using the 4K setting on my camera can work really well. I would say don't ever zoom it with your camera. The moment you zoom in or out with your camera, it gets pixelated. It distorts it does something with it that really, like, you will see the actual pixels moving when you do that. So I would say just stay with whatever it is. Just position yourself properly so that you can see your performance. And if you want it closer, so that it only sees you, because sometimes, it's a group scene and you're too tiny, you can't even use that for your reel. Oh, that's what I'm going to say. Like, it's important that if you're going to be recording your own performances and you want to use it for a reel, definitely zoom in into either just a 2 people frame or your frame, your just you. But yeah, I would say even an iPhone camera used in a 4K setting should be okay. I would recommend, I have a tinier one that I use for recording if I'm not using my bigger camera. It's a Sony Z1 or Sony ZV-1 is also good. It's a portable digital camera, and right now, like, secondhand, you can buy one for like $300. And it's really good. It has 4K. It's really good with lighting. Yeah. And then in terms of picking up the audio, it's also tricky because a theater is very big and usually it echoes a lot. So I typically, if it's a profession, like I'm asked to actually capture something and I'm getting paid for it, I would put either a boom microphone or I have an H6N recorder. It's a Zoom, like it's an actual just a recorder with sort of like a muffler sort of thing to what it does is it zeroes in on the actual people who are speaking. So if there's background noise, it doesn't pick it up. So it centers on, yeah. So I put it either if I'm able to, because thing is, you need to ask permission if you're recording something from the cast and also from, I guess, the stage manager, just to be respectful, like you don't want to be recording people who are not aware that they're being recorded. Most actors are going to be okay with it. Depending on the theater, they should be okay with it. Second City, for example, has been very good with it if it's an improv or a sketch that is not from Second City itself. You know what I mean? Like if it's made by students or training center performances are okay to record usually. So yeah, I would put it in the middle just so it picks up everything. And then it doesn't matter if my camera is in the back or on the side or wherever. At least it's picking up the audio from the middle of the stage.
That's interesting. What's that called again?
The one that I'm using is called H6N. So Zoom H6N. Right now, I think it's on Amazon. It's less than $200, like $150, I think. Even an H1. H1 is very reliable. I think they're already at H10 at this point. But it's H1, H2, H4,
Sure.
Mine is H6.
And can you plug that into your phone, or does it need to go into a camera?
So it is battery operated. You put 4 batteries in it, and then you put an SD card, and then it has 4 channels. So it's usually used for recording for film. So usually you can put 4 lavalier microphones on it to be recording 4 different channels. But there's also an option to put just a tiny Rode microphone or whatever boom microphone on top of your camera. So usually where an external flash goes, there's a connector, like it's a hot shoe connector. You put a microphone on top of your camera, and usually that's better than the camera's recording, like pickup itself. Like even this. Like your H6N, you can connect this because this is sort of more a boom. So you can connect this with your H6N. But of course, like it's going to block the view of a lot of the audience. So you would want to be as inconspicuous as possible when you're recording. So that's why an H6N works, because it is about just this big and then about this wide. And then I put it in a tiny tripod so that it can just rest on the stage or on a table or what.
Okay. And you said that everything's pretty well lit, so that's not something you really worry about. You don't really need to change anything like aperture or anything like that on your phone or a camera to record anything.
Well, you want to make sure that your exposure is neutral or leveled, because the thing is, so let's say you're using your iPhone, right? The thing is, the light changes all the time, and sometimes it compensates too much depending on which subject you are recording. And so to avoid that, what you can do is there's a feature on iPhone where if you press the center of your subject, you long press it, you wait 3 seconds, and it's gonna lock the frame. And then you can reduce or increase the brightness. And because it's locked, it will stay in that brightness for the duration of the recording. So even if the light changes, it will stay locked in that bright light mode. So yeah. And then if you're doing it on your own camera, I've struggled with that as well, because if I'm the one performing and I don't have any friends who will operate the camera, or if a friend of mine doesn't really know how to operate, then I sometimes see some recording where it gets overexposed in some and then underexposed in some. And so I would always just try to put it in the most neutral setting possible. You wanna Sony's and Canon's native system is pretty good at adjusting. So there's a setting on camera that's called aperture priority or shutter priority. So it's an auto setting, but it's not fully auto because you're prioritizing the aperture. So if you set it, okay, I want my recording to be 7.1 aperture, it will adjust everything else to maintain that aperture. I wouldn't recommend that for stage because if it gets too dark, then it will adjust the shutter. Look, so like it might be too technical for some people, but I would say if you're recording for stage and you want to do some auto setting, don't go full auto, go shutter priority auto. So that your shutter priority should be at 50 because that's the normal, like how reality movement is. It mimics reality. The 50 shutter is what mimics, for example, an electric fan moving. Like this, you see the blur, right? In 50, if you're recording at 50, you will see the blur. But if you're recording for much higher than that, it goes really weird because imagine that this is moving really fast, but you're still seeing my hand as if, So anyway, like keep it at 50 shutter priority, and then it will adjust the ISO and the aperture on its own.
Okay. Sorry, and that's for a camera or for the phone or both?
Camera. For the phone, just do the locking in of the setting. Put your subject in the middle, press in the middle, and then a yellow box will appear. And then you have the ability to turn it up or down the brightness. And then once you decide, then it will stay that way for the duration of the recording. So you have to do it every time you record. Also, having a tripod is very important. Like there are very cheap tripods on Amazon. So that's something that anybody performing should invest on at least. Like there's less than $20 tripods because that's really helpful. Even if you're shooting with your phone, whatever you're recording, a self-tape, a performance, like you need a tripod. So anyway.
I know it kind of depends on the space and what you want to get, but do you have a preferred spot you like to put the camera? Do you like to put it in the back of the room? Try to get a spot in the front or both? If I had the option, I would have a 2-camera setup and I would have one at the very back of the camera shooting it's called the main shot, or it's sort of a wide shot, right? It sees everything. It sees the whole play or performance, including all of the actors. And then I would have one off to the side. Usually I use the right side for some reason. It doesn't matter. And depending on where I would be most visible, if I'm always on the right side, then I'll probably put it on, if I'm on stage right, then I would put the camera audience right so that it's seeing me that way. If I'm always on stage left, then I would put it the opposite way so that it's looking that way. Because if you're always on your stage right and then you put the camera here, then it's always just getting the side of your face. Yeah. But if I only had one camera, I would put it at the back. And I usually use, if you're using an actual professional camera, I would say go buy a zoom lens. The one that I'm using right now is 35 to 150. It zooms up pretty well so that it can capture really close up if I wanted to. You also need a reliable friend to, you have to teach your friends how to use it. And the deal is I'll get you, you get me, sort of it's that kind of community where you can count on each other to if I am performing and also recording, I can very much expect to just have a wide shot
which is almost unusable for reels. You can use it for social media posting for sure. But for reels, I would need someone to be operating like zooming in or zooming out.
Is it possible to like record yourself, or is it kind of like you might
It is.
improvise on go back?
It actually is. Now that I think about it, if I record in 4K, then I am able to crop it in so that, and also just preempt where you, so if it's a sketch, then you probably know where you're going to be at most of the time. If you have a favorite sketch that, like, you know, you're going to be like, okay, this is the one that I want to really record. Then place your camera so that it faces exactly where because you're going to block yourselves before the show begins. So you know exactly where you're going to be at. Then point your camera there, record in 4K so that even if you go wide, you can crop it in and doesn't lose quality as much. And then, and then pray that nobody passes by your camera. I would say I've done this before. Especially if it's a location where it's very dark, I put a high visibility jacket on my camera because I don't want people tripping on the tripod legs. Not because I don't want to trip them, but because I don't want them to trip my camera. So it's really not altruistic. Yeah, just put something that, or if you don't want to always bring a high visibility camera, you can put sticker tapes, like the tapes that you put in the car sticker, like where if light shines on it, it becomes a little bit more visible. You can put it around your tripod. There are multiple ways.
Well, that's so many great tips. Great. Well, this has been amazing. I'm not for your time.
Of course.
Last thoughts or nuggets that you want to leave us with, and of course, anything you want to plug that you're working on and you want people to come check out.
Oh, I would say, I guess in the topic of recording yourself, a lot of people don't do it just because they think they cannot. I think if you really want to, always just ask the permission of your director or stage manager. That's something that's always an option for us. Because I have asked some friends, like, can I record? And I just tell them, ask your director for it. Because most likely than not, they also want a copy of it, a recording of it. So, because that way you are better positioning yourself to get a space that is more suitable for you. Instead of, I call it a guerrilla shoot, where like I'm just hiding the fact that I'm recording. But if you ask permission beforehand, then then they can anticipate that someone's recording. They can probably even give you a proper space for it. Especially if you say, hey, I'm going to record this. I'm going to give you all a copy of it if you want. Then everybody's going to cooperate, right? Yeah, and it's not related to just recording, but always give the best performance, because like that's something that you can give your agent or someone like for any sort of casting. I found out that a lot of the sketches, I've used my sketches or improv in a handful of auditions because they specifically ask for people who have done sketches. And so I'm like, I didn't even know that's a thing, So yeah, whenever you can, just try to do it. Even if you're not going to be using them in the future, it's always good to look back on your performance and see what you can do better, what you can improve on. Or, like if you have a tendency to do one thing, then you can try to make different choices next time if you're able to identify it through the recordings that you make. But with that, like, good luck to everybody who's going to be trying it. If you have any questions, follow my page. It's called @LiveMalaya_Studio. That's my professional page, or Japo Parcero. I'll be open to answering questions. And if you want to hire me to record your event, either photos or videos, then just hit me up.
Very cool. Well, thanks, Japo. Super fun, super informative, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.